Upgrade your shit.
Yeah, what up? I'm Coach RT3 from the Upgrade Guys. If you do animal flow or any ground-based movements or handstands, yoga, anything like that, then the wrists are going to be usually a point of contention. A lot of people who don't spend a lot of time on the ground have a hard time easing into that entry point of being on their hands and knees. So if you're properly progressing people, you would start them out on all fours on quadruped. But what I want you to take a look at today is what happens as we start to travel on the ground in quadruped. So as we're in this position and we've got 90, if you don't have at least 90 degrees of extension at the wrist, then we're already setting ourselves up for a position that our joint is not accustomed to being in. So we're jamming it past a position that it's comfortable with and it's accustomed to being in, and the more we do that over and over and over again under load, the higher the potential is for injury. So we want to minimize or mitigate that, and so one of the things that we like to do is we like to train that space a little bit. So if I have someone set up in quadruped position, and I already checked their wrist, I've already assessed their wrist to see whether they should be here or not in the first place. But if I feel that they should be here and they should be training it, if you look at the next step in the progression, which is to travel, as you move forward out of this position and you travel, your wrist goes from being at 90 degrees or about 90 degrees to being at a shorter angle. That's now because the shoulder is forward past the wrist, and now this angle here is shorter than it was before. So now this tissue here is compressed, and this tissue on the back side or on the front side of the wrist is actually lengthened and stretched. So that's a position that you're not quite accustomed to and adapted to. And then if you're asking the body to do loading under that, then you haven't necessarily progressively loaded those tissues and allowed an opportunity for them to adapt. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get into this position, and we're just going to do both hands for the sake of time, and you're just going to lean forward over the wrist just slightly until you feel a stretch here. Once you feel that stretch there, we're going to hold that for 2 minutes. Now, for the sake of demonstration today, we will pretend as though we spent 2 minutes here, and now the 2 minutes has passed. We want to do work in that position. So our first bit of work is going to be on the progressive tissue, which is this lengthened tissue right here. And we're going to ask that tissue to work. So essentially we're asking that tissue to push this direction, to shorten. So right now it's lengthened, we're going to ask it to shorten. Okay, so we're going to slowly begin that process. Sniff some air into the abdomen, drive the feet down, create some tension through the rest of the body. We're going to slowly begin to push down on that gas pedal and make the fingers heavy as we begin to activate this tissue here. And we're going to ramp over time from 0 to our greatest, safest effort. So you're just going to pretend that you had a little meter that was running up from 0 all the way up to 100, like a thermometer. And so we're going to slowly ramp up over time. The next 10 seconds or so, we're at 50%, 60%, 70%, ramping up to your greatest, safest effort with an emphasis on safest. And then in 3, 2, 1, we're not going to change the position of where we're at, but we're going to try to peel the palms off the floor. So we're trying to peel the palms off the floor, and in that action we're actually trying to initiate or activate this shortened tissue on the back side of the wrist in order to create a little bit more strength at that shortened range of tissue. And 3, 2, 1, slowly parachute back down, going slightly deeper into a little bit more of a stretch. So you can repeat that for a few rounds. Add that to your mix, add that to your training. It's very important to get the wrist to be strong in those end ranges that we're not accustomed to spending a lot of time in. Hopefully that helps you out, and be sure to sign up for our email list down below. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, be sure to subscribe to our channel and give us a like. Thanks for watching.
Upgrade your shit.